Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate the support. We're going to get into the scheme that I'm going to run this year. I was a little bit discouraged when I started playing Madden. I literally went through every single playbook and I disliked almost all of them. Alright, so I lost a little bit of hope, and what I started out with was the Indianapolis Colts playbook because I saw a levels play in there that I loved from a formation that I loved. So I started out with that as the scheme, but then, and I actually made a video on it that I'm going to drop pretty soon. Okay. But then I looked at the rest of the scheme and I didn't like it at all. Right. So be on the lookout for that video from the Indianapolis Colts playbook, because the play that I went over in that playbook will translate over to this playbook, which will be the second play that I go over. All right. So why don't we get right into it? So, the Commanders playbook is the one that I'm rolling with today. And this is a scheme that I'm going to run with in Madden 25. We're going to start in gun spread H wheel. And the benefit of this playbook is that the very same play that I went over in College 25, one of the first plays I went over for whatever scheme that was, is in this playbook, H wheel. All right. So, I really don't have to get into the nuts and bolts of this play. You can go back and watch that video from College 25 on this particular play, and all of the reads are exactly the same. Right. So maybe in this video I will give kind of like a refresher, but maybe just show you in-game footage of how this play can create a lot of problems for different opponents. All right. So you guys know we always condense the split of the outside receiver to get this kind of close type look with the receivers. That's how we get into this play. All right. And what I like to do, I remember somebody asked the question, what are my reads in the play? I can't remember who asked. Okay, but primarily what I've done, so obviously we know when it's single high, right, in this play, we like to work this side over here, especially the post. In College 25, I would hot route this guy to a bang 8. Okay, but we don't have that option in Madden 25, but this post still works wonders against single high in the game. So the reads are exactly the same. All right, so we know when it's single high, we're working this side. But when you guys ask the question, well, what are, I guess, your progression in the play? Really what I do is when it's double high, we know we like to work this side. When it's single high, we work this side. Okay, but what I like to do is if they come out in a double high shell, safety here, safety here. Okay, a lot of times they will rotate post snap, and if you're trying to attack this side against single high, you can run into issues because you want to work this side. So what I do is I really key the weak side safety. He's really the key in this play in a double high look. Okay, and the phrase that I go by, I know you guys have heard this before, is if he stays post snap, if he stays on this side, then my eyes stay. And what I mean by stay, well, if he sits flat as if he's a man-to-man with one of these guys, if he's quarters defender, deep half defender, etc. That's what I mean by stay. If he stays, my eyes stay on this side to work the double high side. However, if he leaves, right, like he's going to deep middle, or if he's coming down as if the safeties are rocking over, if he leaves, then my eyes leave to the opposite side because we're working the single high side. So that's what I go by in this play when we get a double high look and they may rotate into single high, and it just becomes natural to rotate your eyes over here when this guy goes to the deep middle or rocks down, right? Obviously he's making it very easy for us pre-snap because he's rotating into single high. So I know I'm working this side over here, and you're going to see the many issues the combination that we have over here presents against single high. All right, so right away we see the user, and we want to throw the post. Maybe I shouldn't have paused this, right? So when we see him climb upfield to get in the window of this post, right? Well, what is he? He's the flat control defender, right? He's responsible for controlling the flat. Well, he's climbing up into the window to take away the post. Well, guess what? Now we have our flat wide open, right? And I will get into why this combination on this side is very effective against zone type coverages like cover 3. It's because we create a triangle read, right? Now you may not see the triangle, but it's kind of weird in the sense that here, maybe a shorter line, there's your triangle, right? Now, you know, it may seem weird because he's running a post, but at this point in the route, when he's here, right, we do have our natural triangle, right? We're not waiting until he gets up here, right? That's where we get our triangle read. And when you get a triangle against zone coverages, you are stretching defenders horizontally and vertically, right? That's what football, especially when you're attacking zone coverage, you're trying to put them into conflict. You know, in other words, where a particular defender can never be right. I mean, that's what football is really all about, even in man-to-man coverage, right? In man-to-man, let's say we're in two-man. I made a video on this. Yeah, this is getting pretty bad, guys. So let's just pretend like it's two-man, two deep safeties, right? You may ask, well, okay, where's the conflict defender here, right? There's no conflict defender. Well, this guy can be put into conflict, right? Because he has a run fit responsibility in the box, but then he also is responsible for, let's put the running back here, let's put a tight end here. He's also responsible for the tight end in the pass, right? So the way you can put pressure on that defender in two-man is play action, right? If we were to have a back here and a tight end here, where you have the play fake and he has to honor that run fit responsibility just for a second, and your tight end's climbing right upfield. And what do you know? You pull the ball out, and now he's out of position for a throw, right? I showed a video with Peyton Manning using that same tactic against, I believe they were playing against the Dolphins. Not entirely sure, but I believe the title of the video is Another Weakness of Two-Man, okay? But the whole point is you're trying to put the defenders in a conflict, and we quite naturally do that against zone coverage with our pseudo triangle read here. All right, so this looks like double high, but then he rocks again, right? So now I know it makes the job easier for me. I really don't have to post-snap read so much. I know I'm working the single high side, right? And what did he do last time? He tried to climb in the window to take away the post, right? So let's see what happens. Now he's using the hook curl defender, right? Before he was a curl flat, and now he's going to use this guy. Let's see what happens. Right? And you will see the power of the triangle read, right? Look, he's trying to climb into the window again, right? He's just so afraid of this post. I wonder if I burned him earlier with the play on the post route, so he's trying to take it away, but guess what, right? He's wide open, right? See, this is a problem with this. I'll go ahead and run it, right? You just make that read where, you know, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to overtake this? Well, you know, if we were to take him out of the play, I really don't have to do this because we're going to show this in the very next example, but if he were to be here, this window for the post is wide open, right? Now, in an instance to where he took this away, and let's say the curl flat gets in the window here, well, then we throw here, right? You just cannot be right based upon the routes that we have tethered together. So I throw it underneath, and we pick up 10 yards on a little spot route. I'm in no huddle. So in this play, in this drive, guys, I literally hit all three of our reads in this play against the same defense, where we are just putting different players into conflict, where he's just never right in this particular coverage, right? So now we're going to see me hit the post because we burned him on the flat. We burned him on the little snag there, right? Snap the ball. He's this player again. Okay. So obviously he's cognizant of the flat, but he's not worried about that because the computer will be out here. And now we're just putting this player into conflict, right? Snap. Okay, now you're a little bit too low. He's in no man's land. We could throw this, but I want the big play. The window's open now. And we rip it over the top. And this is where we pick up a touchdown. And the problem really is, again, this is where I get into, I'll go ahead and play it. Big play touchdown. We'll back up. The problem is in single high, I've always stated this, and I know it gets irritating that I repeat myself sometimes. But these guys are the outer shell of the coverage, right? So they are a lot more soft on the outside. And this is just the way I do it, guys. I'm not saying that this way is correct. It's just my opinion and how I've gotten so much better with the game. All right. In like outer shell coverages like this, I really, for a lack of better words, I almost kind of ignore these players when I'm looking at a scheme, right? Because you're just not going to affect the play anyways. If this guy runs a semi-decent route on the outside with you playing so soft, right, then he's just not going to affect the play at all, right? So with that said, you know, at the first glance, you may see, well, look, this is 3 on 3, right? But in actuality, with this player being soft and not being able to affect anything underneath, it's really a 3 on 2, and that's where we get that triangle, right? 2 players cannot be at 3 points of the triangle. So no matter what, 1, 2, or 3 is going to be open on this side. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll run this one more time where we get our big touchdown. And, you know, again, this is just really a refresher course. If you want to get into the nuts and bolts of this play, definitely go check out College 25, where I went over this play and the scheme that I'm running in that game. So here, this looks like cover 0. All right. So against cover 0, again, what's one of the main weaknesses of cover 0? There are a lot of different weaknesses, but, you know, the main thing is the deep middle of the field is wide open, right? So this is where we can get one-on-one coverage, and we can attack the deep middle of the field. The thing is, we need to have enough time to do that. Right now, I know it's cover 0 because you're bringing the safety over as if you're in man coverage with the back. We're one-on-one here, one-on-one, one-on-one, and this is where we probably have our pressure defenders. So I still create the stack look on the outside because I want everything to be the same. And take a look at what I did. I half slid to the left, right? So now we get our slide here. We get our big on big. And now, if we leave our back out into a route, well, then they're going to have a free rusher at the quarterback, and we're not going to have enough time to throw this deep post. Now, you may be able to. This is where you get into the concept of drifting, okay, where in order for you to drift properly as the quarterback, you have to know where the free rusher is coming from. What I mean by drifting is where you just kind of drift in the pocket away from the free rusher just to buy enough time to make this throw. I'm actually going to drift later on in this drive, I think. All right. Where, you know, if you don't know where the free rusher is coming from because you don't like understand pass protection, you could be drifting into the free rusher, right? Which would minimize the amount of time that you have to make a big throw against cover 0, right? That's why it's very important to kind of have some understanding on pass protection. All right, so I believe I check release the back. I went over the dual read concept, and that's what I did, right? So now we are sliding here. We're big on big here, and now the back is in a dual read, 1, 2, 2. I have to actually check to make sure that the dual read is in the game. That's something I'll probably do later, okay? But I'm assuming that it is. I think I had a play earlier yesterday where, you know, the one he was check releasing on didn't come in on blitz, but someone else came and he actually went and picked up the number 2, right? So this is where I know I'm good in protection, right? So look, they're coming, but our back is responsible for him, right? So we know we are theoretically good in protection. He picks him up, right? And now we make our throw. And we pick up a big play. So, you know, you could use the stem feature. I haven't really used it too much this year because to me it takes a lot of time to do that. And maybe you could make the post go like on a deeper path up the field before he breaks inside. Okay, but I've been having major success leaving it the way it is. This is cover 0 again. Okay, again, if you don't know how I know, check out the video on pre-snap reading. And right here, this is one of the things I don't like about the game. Well, you know, actually, maybe I do, because this kind of forces you to you know, kind of get a better feel for pass protection, because I don't like how they're sliding to the right. Maybe they are theoretically correct with that, but I would rather the slide deal with these players. No, I actually think we get a 4-man slide here. Big on big, and then we get a 1 to 2 dual read with the back here. So I believe, okay, so I did slide right. I'm wondering why I did that. which is still fine. Yeah, it makes sense because they shifted the linebackers over, right? So we do get 3-on-3 here, big on big, and now we're 1-2, right? But I like to check release the back against cover 0 from this play so we can kind of guarantee that we do get everyone picked up if they were to come on a blitz, right? If you slide the right way and etc. The only way they can bring a free rusher when we do this is if, give you an example. So we're sliding this way, big on big. He's 1-2, right? The only way they can get a free rusher is if they green dog it, right? To where he comes on a pressure and he comes. So he would pick him up, and then this guy would be the free rusher, right? Benefit in that is when both come, we know that this guy is free, and we can just drift away to buy a little bit more time to throw our post. So it takes 2 to be hot. Okay? So he doesn't come, which means he should pick him. I think this glitched out to where he didn't pick up the free rusher. I remember this. Right? But notice how he stays in. So the game is coded to where, hey, this guy didn't come, so you should turn over to pick up the 2, but for whatever reason in this play, he didn't do it. Oh, okay, and this is the play where I drifted. Right? It just becomes natural after a while, where you know the potential free rusher could be coming from the side. So even if the back does pick him up, you just quite naturally kind of drift away from that free rusher. And then we make our big throw. So I'll show it in real time. Drift, make the throw. Big play, touchdown. But I want you to imagine if we just did a pure drop back, right? So look at where we're at. So imagine if we stayed here. I'll play it. Right? It would be on this hash here. And he could potentially impact the throw, right? Just that little 2-step, 3-step to the left in the pocket bought enough time to where we are not being impacted by a free rusher or a big hit. We're able to make this throw into the window against cover 0, right? It's the little things that can make your game so much better against a variety of different coverages, all right? So, you know, that's really it with this play, guys. Again, if you want to get into the nuts and bolts of the reads, definitely go check out my video from College 25. It's what I like about this play is it kind of transfers over to Madden 25. And I'm glad that it's in this playbook, and I'm glad that there's other plays in the playbook that I like, that I can kind of develop a scheme. And to tell you what, you guys, I believe my record is like 28-1 online. I guess I'm in, I forget which division I'm in online ranked. And you know, I gotta tell you, I've been running maybe 5, 6, 7 plays. Okay, so you know, you don't really need an elaborate offense or, you know, a sophisticated offense to be successful in the game. I mean, you think about Peyton Manning and the Colts, their offense was very simple. A lot of people may argue with me on that, but if you look at the scheme that they ran, it was very simple. It was just about the pilot being able to get in and out of the optimal plays against the defense that's being presented, right? Okay, so you don't have to be too sophisticated on offense. A lot of times you can just be simple, but just execute and be efficient, right? Same thing with defense. Sometimes being too complicated on defense will actually make you worse. Right, a lot of guys want to learn every single coverage in the game, want to learn the nuts and bolts of every coverage in the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, sometimes you may be better as just a single high type defense. You're just very good at executing it. And every now and then you will sprinkle in some double high stuff, but you may be a single high team. Right? You think about the Seattle Seahawks in their glory years again with the cover 3 scheme, right? Or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the early thousands as a cover 2 team, the Bears as a cover 2 team with Lovie Smith. You know, sometimes you specialize in a particular coverage. It's very simple for the defense, but they just execute it so much better, right? Maybe because you run it all the time as well. Same thing with offense, right? You don't have to have a complicated scheme, but I'm still going to go over a lot of different plays. All right, so I'll leave it at that. That is the first play I wanted to throw on the palette for the scheme from the Washington Commanders. I know it's a play I already went over, but I still want to throw this in here as a part of the scheme that I'm running this year. Hope you got something from this video, man. Peace.